This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Tiger Plumbing. Whether you need to replace a faucet, overhaul your sump pump, or desludge your drains, call Tiger Plumbing. In today's world, knowing who's at your door is important. Tiger Plumbing sends you your technician's photo, estimated time of arrival, and a little bit about him or her. Hey, Sam likes fishing and camping. Cool.
The Bill and Kelly Show is recorded at Studio A at Executive Suite Squared in beautiful Hammond, Indiana. Now, here's Bill and Kelly.
Hello, welcome to our show. Today we have a very special guest that actually she's been a guest and a friend of the show for quite some time. Dr. Sandy Goldberg, who is the co-founder and CEO of a Silver Lining Foundation, which is a breast health organization. I'll let her tell a little bit more about after we say hello to her.
Hello to you, and hello to you, Kelly.
Nice to see you.
Oh boy, this is a treat for us having you back on the show.
Absolutely. One of my favorite people.
Oh, keep talking, honey.
No,
Keep
you
talking.
got it. You got it. You know you are.
Yeah, so welcome back, and tell us, for the people who may not be familiar with a Silver Lining Foundation, why don't you tell us a bit about that and how it started?
Oh, you want me to talk about my baby, do you?
Yes.
Well, actually, my husband and I co-founded a Silver Lining Foundation in 2002. What we discovered is that I, as a breast cancer survivor, was very fortunate to have access to everything that I needed, certainly in terms of treatment, surgery, post-treatment. And I learned through the creation of a small cable show, not unlike what you both are doing here, that the people that were watching us did not have access to breast health testing. So the Silver Lining Foundation was born as a result of that show. And now we have morphed and expanded into 5 programs.
Wow.
The heart of which is a program we call Buy a Mom a Mammogram. But as you both know, it is so much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we do is fund all breast health testing for uninsured, underinsured, and women who have no other way of getting any sort of testing at 15 partner hospitals. So it's sort of soup to nuts in terms of that. We also have an education program, an outreach program, and a program that is designed specifically for survivors. So even in the time since I've been on your show, since the last time, we've grown and grown and grown and grown.
Which is wonderful.
Oh, it feels so good.
Not bad.
Yeah, and by the way, have you noticed that we've kind of grown?
Have I noticed that you've grown? Well, let me tell you, listeners and viewers, that I have been around long enough with this wonderful, wonderful show to see exactly how it's grown, how it's expanded, and man, you have some pretty fancy digs here now. Yeah.
I don't, as I was telling you before the show, I don't think Larry Potash and Robin Bongard have anything to worry about yet, but give us a day or two.
How about an hour or two?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that, huh?
You can catapult us into a new whole area,
whole new
the
realm.
media.
But
whole
you know
new
what?
realm.
But you know what the important thing is about what you, Bill, and you, Kelly, are doing is that you are reaching people that need to be reached about a multitude of subjects, and local subjects and hyper-local subjects. Although, Lord knows, those who are watching and listening to you have expanded tremendously, certainly since I've been here.
Yeah, it has, and we've had guests on from all over the United States. And just when we think, okay, we're just Jethro and Sally Mae of the podcast world, we get contacted by someone, a doctor out of New York, asking to come on our show, and I'm like, seriously? Do you know who we are? Did you get the wrong number? And we had a doctor who's left his practice to put this documentary together about undocumented immigrants.
Right.
Next thing you know, we are doing that. So it's kind of amazing sometimes.
It's nice how it's
It really
morphed.
is.
Well, I think, the important thing is never to underestimate the impact. What you may think as being small reaches so many people in so many different ways. And that is the beauty of technology, actually, And the whole learning experience, I think, behind it. As an example, when we started in specific, our breast health testing program, our outreach and education program had been going full guns ahead, is that we realized that there were women and men who had no insurance. Then we learned down the road that there were women and men who had insurance but could not afford their deductible, could not afford their copay, or their insurance did not cover the testing that they needed. And then we discovered all those people without documentation who needed help as well. And you know, we've had comments about that you, Dr. Sandy, my husband Greg, we co-founded Silver Lining together. You help everyone, and I go, isn't this what it's all about?
It is.
Isn't it? And we see so many people from so many walks of life that need what it is that we do in terms of testing, and then we expanded to a young people's education program, which is remarkable. And then we learned that there were survivors who did not have the support and access to testing that they needed. So we added a survivor program.
Right. And talking about survivor, one thing I look at your foundation is the amount of lives you've saved for people that couldn't afford to get in, and all of a sudden they found out about this beautiful program where they didn't have insurance, but boy, I could at least go in and get that mammogram I was supposed to have 5 years ago. And you kind of provide the means to do that, which is absolutely wonderful.
Well, I think that there's something, and certainly those who are watching and listening should be aware of that. It is more than a mammogram. A mammogram is sort of the lowest test on the food chain where breast health testing is concerned. And so if the mammogram is fine, that's one thing. But you have a mammogram, and what happens if you need additional testing? What happens if you need that ultrasound or that diagnostic or that MRI or that biopsy? The important thing is, as I said before, this whole soup to nuts attitude and affect that we have about funding everything. And the beauty of what we do in terms of all 15 of our hospital partners who are remarkable is that if one of our ladies or men are diagnosed, they will be taken care of either through a funded program or the hospital's charity care program for free. So no one who comes to a Silver Lining Foundation for breast health testing will ever have to pay one dime. And that's really what's crucial about what we do.
That is absolutely beautiful.
I remember one time when you were on talking about a woman who heard about you that lived in Florida
Right.
and drove all the way up to
Right.
get help. And I just thought that was amazing.
You know, we have so many people who do come to us from out of state, or people who come to us who are visiting family from other countries, and they have no place to go. I mean, and I've had the question, well, maybe these people could go someplace else. You know, maybe they could get access someplace. A, where is somebody going to go? And B, how hard is it to call a stranger for help?
Yeah.
You know, here's this anonymous voice, and you have to ask someone you don't know, who you've had no experience with, to give you help on something that is that elemental. And also something that you said really struck a chord with me, Bill, is the fact about saving lives. Obviously, this is something that is crucial to us, and our diagnosis rates of women and men who come to us through a Silver Lining Foundation, whom we fund, our diagnosis rates are 4.5 times the national average. But I want to swing back a little bit to other than saving lives, which obviously is what we want to do, but easing lives. Someone who hasn't had a mammogram for 6 years, is scared to death, maybe has a family history, it maybe feels something and is concerned. And I can't tell you how many calls we get, and these are the ones that just do it to me.
Yeah.
I get calls, Dr. Sandy, I had my mammogram and I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
It is cool stuff.
Yeah, it is. Gives me the goosebumps. Just that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always get those when we have people on that do good things for others. It's just like, whoa.
Well, we're supposed to, don't you
Yeah.
think?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's part of our what we're here for. Is to be a
Right.
community.
Well, I remember when I was diagnosed, and you know, I don't care how much training you have, what your profession happens to be, how close you are to the whole issue of medical care. When you hear you have cancer and you feel like you've been hit by a bus.
Oh, sure.
Now you think of someone that does not have training, does not have access, is scared to death,
Mm-hmm.
and where do they go?
Right.
What do they do? So everyone in our office that answers the phone, and our very small office, is either a survivor, is dealing with metastatic cancer at this time, has had a scare, has lost a loved one to cancer, or has needed testing that they couldn't afford at that time.
And I love the fact that you make sure that people know that it's not just women that get breast cancer.
There you go.
Men do too. And there's a show that I've been watching called A Million Little Things that's
Right.
on ABC, and I love the fact that one of the main characters is a guy who's a breast cancer survivor.
Right.
I love that.
And it's interesting, when we started Silver Lining in 2002, and then when we started our breast health testing program in 2006, so take this 14 years since we started our breast health testing program to now, is the first year when we looked at stats, nationwide, around 1,300 men were anticipated statistically to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Now in 2020, it's more like 3,000.
Wow.
So those numbers are raising. I mean, obviously not in terms of the way women are, but certainly, I mean, this shows you something as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
And why the need for testing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, and that's something that I still think to this day men are just clueless that they could be victims of breast cancer. And so,
Getting that word out is
yeah,
so
at
important.
least with women, when they have, it's what, like on the men's side, testicular.
Testicular.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll just jump right in here, honey.
Thank
Please
you.
do.
I need a speech therapist, as Kelly can tell you. And they have their checklist, but that isn't one of the items that's commonly on the checklist.
No.
But they can be subject to it. So,
Absolutely. We've
and,
had several men that have come to us that have needed diagnostic testing.
And you bringing awareness to that is absolutely marvelous,
Right.
because you never know when there could be saving a man's life from that. So. One of the things, if you don't mind, if we could jump into, because this is a crucial part of having a non-for-profit on our show, we like to tell people how do they get their funding, and how do they, what events, and you've got this marvelous event coming up here pretty soon.
Yes, indeed.
And,
we were so blessed to be there last year and to experience it firsthand
thank
how
you.
beautiful it is. So.
And I'm telling you, when I referred to us earlier as the Jethro and the Ellie Mae of the podcast world, we went to that. We truly felt like Jethro and Ellie Mae.
No, you did not. No, you did not. There were people in the room who were, you see, to me what's important is that our people on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Why are people in that room? Certainly to have a good time, and it is a great event.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But more because the mission and knowing that 100% of the proceeds go to support our breast health testing program, it resonates with a lot of people. I mean, if I would say in that room, how many of you have either been diagnosed or know someone that's been diagnosed or have had a scare, please stand up. Almost the entire room
I
would
was going to
stand
say
up.
99.9%.
Right.
Yeah, and that was a marvelous event. It was well orchestrated. It is a fashion show
Yeah.
that another friend of ours actually is involved in, Mark Roscoe.
Absolutely.
Who's an absolutely,
The
that
amazing
guy's
designer.
a neat guy. Amazing designer. And, I try to tell people about him, and once we tell them he's an attorney by day and fashion designer by night, they're like, how
That's
does
an
that work?
odd combination.
So,
Plus,
but,
he's
I mean,
not a bad-looking guy either.
No.
He's easy on the eyes.
Yeah, and but to know some of the work that he's done for celebrities,
Right.
we're talking about Emmy Awards, and people at
Sure.
Cannes Film Festival, I'm going to
Yes.
throw it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Mark Roscoe, attorney, designer, is truly the driving creative force behind this fashion show. And for your viewers and listeners, the fashion show is called Glitz and Glamour. This is our 6th consecutive fashion show. It is completely underwritten, so 100% of ticket purchases and donations come directly to our breast health testing program. It is on March the 4th at the Peninsula Hotel in Chicago, and the festivities begin at 11 a.m. For those of you who might be interested, and I will tell you that the tickets are almost all gone, but please log on to our website, asilverliningfoundation.org, and there's a big banner, at least currently there's a big banner, to purchase tickets. And if you would like to support us also, there is a drop down there where you are able to do so. But Mark Roscoe is really the driving creative force behind it. He puts the whole event together. My job is to be out there talking about what we do and making sure that people are there in order, certainly to enjoy the afternoon, but most importantly to support our program.
Well, you're also a model.
Yes.
You get to show off those gorgeous gowns and things too.
I have to tell you that it is, as I have said multiple times, a long way from Magnolia, Arkansas, where I grew up, to be sashaying down that runway, wearing Mark Roscoe's amazing designs, and looking around and seeing here's a room full of love and a room full of support.
And I mean, this is not any just like low-end fashion show. This is the as high as it gets.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it was
Fashion Week in New York or Paris has
the
nothing
music
on
going
this, I'm
on while
telling
they're
you.
strutting
Just
down
keep talking, keep talking. But you
And-
know, we want it to be an event, which it is, that people will remember and people will attend, but also are aware of the fact that this event supports testing, potentially life-saving testing, for those who are in need and unable to access it otherwise. I mean, as I've said, we turn no one away. No one. We ask very few questions when someone calls us for help. We ask very few questions. All we care about is to take away that fear about having a test, and then one knows what one has to do, if anything. And if something has to be done, it won't cost. It won't cost.
Yeah, and thanks to events like this. And you have a
Absolutely.
gala as
Exactly.
well that you do.
Our big gala, the support of the corporate organizations that support us, our donors that we can, without them we couldn't do what we do. But most importantly, when you think, and this is the way I think about it with this fashion show, every seat filled, every ticket purchased will fund a screening mammogram for a woman and man in need. That's the way. If you
Awesome.
bring it down to what's elemental, that's what it's about.
Yes.
That's great. Circling back to Glitz and Glamour, the MC is going to be Micah Materre, who's the WGN anchor, evening
Yes.
anchor.
Micah is a remarkable supporter of Silver Lining. She
Yeah.
MCs this event every year. And this year, we have a surprise, which I'm going to share with all of you.
Oh.
We have our 8 designers, and in each designer run, there will be one celebrity model who will be modeling one of the designer's garments. And this year, we have a tremendous support from Chicago media. We're calling it Women in Media.
Oh,
So we have
cool.
support from certainly WGN, from WMAQ, Channel 5, WLS, Channel 7, Chicago Magazine, Cancer Wellness Magazine,
Wow.
the Whitney Reynolds Show, and who am I leaving out? The remarkable Candace Jordan
Cool.
from the Chicago Tribune. And each one of these fabulous women are going to be walking the runway in one garment. And I'm going to, of course, go sashaying down at some point or another.
Absolutely.
And they're giving their time, they're giving their efforts, they're giving their energy. The designers garments have been made for them by the designers. The photographs that will be up very shortly by the amazing Ernest Collins. I have to tell you, the one thing I always wanted in my life was to have my photograph taken by Ernest Collins. And I'm there and I said, that doesn't even look like me. I look so nice. And he said, no, you look okay. But these are the sorts of things. And of those celebrity models, 3 are survivors.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
So how
Beautiful.
terrific is that?
That's
It-
beautiful.
Oh, man. Yeah, what a great event.
Yeah.
What a great event. Yeah,
Yes.
and like Kelly and I, like we felt kind of out of place, but
No,
yeah,
we
it was.
didn't.
No,
we looked
you
around it.
didn't.
It was.
No, we didn't.
But then we saw you and Mark there, and we said, okay, we feel comfortable once again.
Well, I think that the mission is unifying.
It
Yes,
is.
it
You know,
is.
that's what it's all about.
As we're sitting at the table, we ran into people that were all touched by one shape or form, family member themselves,
Right.
being survivors, and you quickly knew that everyone was there for a purpose. and it's totally committed to whatever it took to help out the silver lining.
Well, I think I often call it, especially among those of us who have been diagnosed, I call it a club that nobody wants to join.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting dynamic, because when you meet somebody who is a survivor, inevitably there is the need to touch, and everyone does it. I've never seen anything like it. I met a lady the other day I've never met, and she said, I'm a survivor, and we both at the same time went like that. You know, you have to touch.
Yeah.
Right.
We talk, how long have you been a survivor? And when I was diagnosed, you know, it was somewhat grim. And April the 21st of 2020, I will celebrate 20 years survivor.
Beautiful.
So, you know, and this is what we look for. And this is what the ability to have access to testing and all that is needed in terms of testing can provide. And plus, if a woman is diagnosed with an early, or man is diagnosed with an early stage breast cancer, the likelihood of their going on and living a normal lifespan is something like 97+%.
Wow.
So you got to nip it in the bud.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, we're just so appreciative of the work that you do, and,
Thank you.
and helping people out and bringing awareness. And that's, you know, we try to do is promote people like that, and we love on them as much as we can.
Plus, you're just a beautiful person
Yeah,
inside and out
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. And I do.
You know, I think this
wow.
is the third time that I've said to you, keep talking.
You know, one story I'll keep on sharing every time you're on our show. I remember your nutrition segments on
Right.
MAQ, and you had your own segment, and I always got a kick out of them because I always felt like a mom figure was saying, because you had all this plain base, you know, basically common sense approach to health and nutrition. It's like portions. You know, I kept on remembering saying, now once you're done, you need to push away. You don't need to have another potato. You don't need to have another steak. And, you know, it was that, I'm exaggerating, but it was that type of thing. You always felt like mom was talking to you. Yes, mom. Yes, yes. And so I remember that, and, you know, and you carried that on to this foundation with you. It's,
Well, I've been extraordinarily fortunate. Has been with the support of WMAQ Channel 5 in Chicago. As you know, I was on air for 21 years with my own branded segment on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and when I was diagnosed, the wagons were immediately circled. You know, whatever I wanted, I had. Whatever I needed, I had. And that was superimposed on the love and support of an amazing husband. And we were married 5 months when I was diagnosed. So over the course of years, as a Silver Lining Foundation emerged from a little cable show that I had started, the station has always been just so caring about spreading the word of what we do, of the segments that were involved, of the participation in the events. And that means the world. And then when I retired from MAQ in terms of being on air actively on the weekend, this allowed us to reach out to other stations as well. WLS Channel 7, WGN Channel 9 in terms of television, and certainly WGN Radio, who has allowed us to be able to air a public service announcement every single year, multiple times throughout the course of the month, on making sure that you get your breast health testing. And that is so important, to be able to spread what we do, and frankly across such, like what you're doing, across such a broad demographic area. So lucky.
yeah, oh my goodness. But it's lucky for the people that you saved.
Well, it's much appreciated.
And boy, that's why you'll always be close to our heart in what you do.
Thank you.
And you're right up there, one of Bill and Kelly favorites.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we appreciate that. And when you talk about seeing your mother on television, actually it's more like your grandmother than your mother.
Not.
But you know, it's interesting, because when I think about it, when I was diagnosed, I was so scared. And, you know, am I going to be able to see my grandchildren grow up? Am I going to be able to do this? And, you know, because of technology, because of access, you know, I'm able to sit here 20 years later, okay.
Yeah.
See, this is what is so important about what we do, and this is what is so important about what you both do, regardless of the subject matter.
You know, you just touched upon something. It's just a domino effect. The effect
Right.
that you've had realize how many people that you've allowed to see their grandkids, their children, they have longer time with them to spend with them. The magnitude of that is just wonderful.
It was brought home to me when 2.5 years ago our oldest granddaughter got married. And she grew up in 4.5 seconds. And there she is. And there, again, for technology and support, but most importantly, access.
Yes.
Access. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And we have a couple, although we don't reach out to anyone who's been diagnosed through Silver Lining Foundation, we feel people are entitled to their privacy and their anonymity if this is what they prefer to have. But there are a couple of women who have been diagnosed through Silver Lining, and every single year we celebrate together. Every single
beautiful.
year, yes. And there's nothing better than that. That's the biggest blessing of all.
Well, you not only save lives, but you save moments.
Yes.
That for sure.
For generations to come. And that is something that's so epic, it's hard to even describe or formulate here. But
Everything we do is based on my late mother's philosophy, and she would say we're all family, and we have to help each other through the tough times.
there you
And
go.
that's really
That
what
is so
life
true.
should be all about.
Yeah. Yeah, the closer we get as a community, closer net. And Sandy, you could help me out here. There was a cardiologist that did this study back in the 50s and 60s where he opened up office between these two communities. One was made up of a community that was virtually transplanted from Italy, and one was just a hodgepodge of different people. The people from Italy came over because there's granite mining opportunities. But the one thing he noted, this one community, they lived a tremendous amount of time. They got into their 80s and 90s, which back then was way beyond the expected life expectancy. And he boiled down, looked at the diet. No, the Italians really did not have that, because of the fats and things that they have in that culture. And what it came down to is they were so close. The generational care, the neighbors cared for each other.
Community.
Right.
And
right.
it was such a strong community, it elongated their life expectancy. And so that's something to, think about is, when you have that assurance that your neighbor's going to care for your kids or something, you feel more connected.
It makes a tremendous difference, but I will tell you, segueing into 2020, a lot of it boils down to finances. What you have access to. I mean, there was a study done recently that the differential in terms of the life expectancy between Streeterville, which is downtown Chicago, and go to Gary, Indiana, or even the south side of Chicago, the difference in life expectancy is 30 years difference.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so this is really what we have to address.
Yeah.
I believe strongly in family. Lord knows I believe strongly in family. And family does not necessarily mean genetic.
No.
But the aspect of being able to have access to what you need and not be treated as though you don't matter, that's what holds people back.
Absolutely.
That's what holds people back.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful thing. And one of the things that Caylei does, she's extremely passionate about her DNA. She has
My Ancestry.com.
Yeah, but when you say family, it is tremendous to know how many family members she discovered around her that she didn't know about through the DNA test kit. So, that's something to think about. You never know who could be family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, boy, this has been wonderful. We love you coming here in our new studio, and it's been a change for us, and having you back has been delightful.
Absolutely.
It's
delightful.
always a joy to be with both of you, and nothing can make me happier than to see exactly how far you have come.
So you've been in many TV studios,
Yes.
Sandy. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Oh, yes, you are.
Oh, well.
We're looking for a shameless plug, but yes, I am. What do you think?
I think that this studio, and I believe the name of the building you're in is, I see here, ES2.
Executive Suite Squared.
But it's wonderful. It's clean. It's modern. The technology is amazing. I could get my hot chocolate when I walked in.
Right.
I mean, the security is excellent. The parking is easy,
And Sandy, you never know who you're going to run into in our green room.
Ah.
I'm just saying.
Aha, and I'll keep that in mind the next time that
All
I
right,
come over
good.
because obviously I'm coming back.
I hope so.
Yeah, definitely. You're always invited on.
Thank
Just
you.
Anytime.
give us a call and say, we got to promote this. And I said, you know what? You come on
Come
down.
on down.
And we certainly will, especially now that we live in Northwest Indiana. You
Yeah.
are just a hop and a
neighbors.
skip down the road.
Definitely. Well, with that, Sandy, is there anything else you want to share with us?
No, I can't really think of anything. I think we've covered a lot of topics today. However, what I will say to those listening, should you need access to a cost-free mammogram and breast health testing, you don't have insurance, your insurance won't cover it, please pick up the phone and call us at a Silver Lining Foundation. And our number is 312-345-1322, or you can go online at our website, A Silver Lining Foundation, spell it all out, and don't forget the A.org. And we'll be glad to help you.
And that will be on the posting as well
Yeah,
with the
we'll put
video.
all the
Boy, look at
information
this
up there
whole
with the
techno
graphic.
thing here. Cool.
I
Yeah,
know.
we're fancy.
He's
Yeah.
grown up now.
I love it. I
Yep.
love it. I'm very proud of both of you.
Thank
We
I'm
may
very
still
proud of
have
both of you.
overalls, but we're fancy.
That's right. We is fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, I grew up in Arkansas. This the way you talk in Arkansas.
That's right.
With that, we better say goodbye for now
Well,
so we can
bye,
get this
y'all.
up and up there. So, thanks much, Sandy, and we'll say goodbye for now.
This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Tiger Plumbing. Whether you need to replace a faucet, overhaul your sump pump, or desludge your drains, call Tiger Plumbing. In today's world, knowing who's at your door is important. Tiger Plumbing sends you your technician's photo, estimated time of arrival, and a little bit about him or her. Hey, Sam likes fishing and camping. Cool.